I made something with Emily from Eclectic Possessions.
Shut up and sit down.
That's my secret, and I've been keeping it since January, and I'm here today because I cannot wait another second to show it to you. So let's get started. I'm Steph from Lindy Stitches. I design under the name Lindy Stitches, cross stitch patterns. I'm here to talk about cross stitch, and I'm here to show you a project that I am so excited about. In January, I was exercising, and I get great ideas when I exercise. I think it's like my brain's sideways way of getting me to stop exercising, because when I get a deep thought, all motion stops, and I have to go write it down. Or maybe it's the increased blood to my brain. Either way, I was trying to think of ways that I could collaborate with other creators in my design process. And I thought, well, you know, Emily, she picks color palettes from heaven. Let's have her pick a color palette and design her a sampler. So I reached out to her and she said yes. And she picked out a color palette for me, and I designed a sampler in her honor. And I hope you are wearing some Depends right now, because let me first show you the colors she picked out. She didn't do me wrong. We went with Gentle Arts sampler threads because we're both fans of Gentle Arts sampler threads. And she picked out a few more than these, but these are the ones that I chose to utilize in the pattern. You likey, because I sure do. Gorgeous. If you know Emily, you know one of her favorite colors from Gast is Storm Clouds. What do I do? Don't read my notes. What? That. There you go. Storm Clouds is a green, blue, gray, and it is gorgeous. So she picked out the colors, and I said, okay, how about I design you a typical sampler? We'll do a house, we'll do a lawn, we'll do some animals, we'll do a gray border. And she said, go for it. So I feverishly worked for about a week, sent her a mock-up image, and she loved it. You want to see it? Okay. So here is my newest release. It is called Emily's House. And I would sleep with this at night if I could. That's how much I love it. So at the top you can see prominently featured Buster and Dharma. It's got the great border. It's got ravens. It's got weird kooky animals on a green lawn. And it has a verse that I picked out with Emily in mind. And if you know Emily, she is a advocate for vulnerable women and children in her community. She works with a CASA-like organization. I'm not sure if it's, I don't know if it's officially CASA, but she goes to court a lot. She speaks for people who need their rights defended and they need help. And I love her and admire her for doing that work. I've been more connected to the foster care community in the last 5 or 6 years, and I know how hard it is. And so she's my hero. And so this is the verse I picked for her. It is a proverb. It says, "Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute." And I think that speaks not only about Emily, but about what we need to remember in our current day. So, the great news about Emily's house. I polled you guys maybe 6 months ago, I don't know, a while ago, about whether you care about instant frame sizes. So, this is a Hobby Lobby frame. It is an 11 by 14, I think. But in the pattern, I give you the item number in case you would like to use the exact same frame, but it's a standard American size, and so even if you don't like the frame I picked out, if you stitch it on the same count, you can go frame it as soon as possible yourself. This is stitched on 32 count Picture This Plus Oaken, and it uses all of these colors that Emily picked out. It also uses some DMC and one sulky thread for this silvery moon, just because I could not find a gas. I couldn't find a good variegated gas color for the moon, so that's a sulky. So in the pattern you get all the information that you need to do Emily's house, including the floss list, fabric, like, what am I talking about? You also get the Cats on Moon's scissor fob pattern featuring Buster and Dharma hanging out. Cat hair. Appropriate. How cute are these? So I used 2 colors of Lady Dot Creates pom-poms on these and just kind of twisted them around. And you know what this is. This is Dirty Face Lace, because I want to dirty face lace all the things. So cute. I hope you like it. My favorite part, he doesn't show up super well. You kind of have to look for him, which I like also, is there's a little like Martian, like I made it, I don't even know what it is. I was like, that looks weird and cute. He's a little like Martian bird right there. Turtle, peacock, there's a snail right here. And I don't know what it is about this dog, but there is something so sweet to me. Like, you've got the raven, like, striking a pose at the top, which I think is awesome, because it's like, speak for those who have no voice. Like, do it. Beautiful. But then there's something really lovely, I don't know, about this dog, like, looking up. He's looking up here at what's going on. I don't know. I forgot to say that Lori Cook stitched this for me, and she stitched that one. And I told her, I said, Lori, if you want to just use 2 strands, this is stitched 1 over 1, except for the cats. The cats have 2 so that they pop. I told her, I was like, you can use 2 strands and just do the alternating where you do 1 half cross stitch this way and then the next row you do it the other way. You can just do that, it'll be faster. And she was like, no, I can't do that. So she finished it up for me, and it's so pretty. And I don't want to put it away and admit that it's done, but I can't hog it to myself anymore. Emily did something very special for me. She gave a good chunk of her life to making me a special edition Momily bag. are the rays of sunlight shooting into your room, because they should be. This right here, this fabric, this is the story of my life in my head. Look at it. Oh my gosh. I told you guys I have a serious problem with like the corals and the periwinkles paired with like these musty colors. Deep breath. So she made me a big stack of these. I paid her for them. Yeah. So these are going to be in my shop. There are a limited number of them. And what you get in your Momily bag is Emily's House pattern. You get the floss pack. And endive, I forgot to say before, is a 10-yard skein because that's how much you need for the lawn. And you also get a package of Lady Dot Creates Dirty Face Lace, because I know even if you don't want to make the cat fobs, you still need some of this in your life. So you will get that too. There's a limited number. The shipping time, as of right now, if you want to rush over to my shop and purchase one, the shipping time does look a little long, but that was just because I'm going to be at Needlework Galleria and I won't be here at home to ship it out to you. But as soon as I get home, your Steffa Momily bag will be winging its way to you. And of course, the bags are all different with fabric placement, etc., but they are all sewn with love. Sunbeams are included. Emily, thank you so much. Mwah. Okay, let's change gears. I have one more release I want to show to you, and I want you to see it. I tend to say of every new release that this is one of the favorite things that I've ever made. This comes straight out of the weird part of my brain, and I totally realize that, and I don't care if anyone buys this pattern. I love it from the depths of my weird, weird soul, okay? Now, I have an offbeat brain, and I think of things in an offbeat way, and I think it's hilarious, okay? So I crack myself up constantly. I live in my own little world, and that's where this pattern came from, okay? This pattern is a set of 2 pillows, or you can make it into whatever you want, but they're a little weird. And I can't wait to show them to you. They are 2 spins off of just traditional needlework, but boy are they weird. They're called Ghoulfriend. Ghoulfriend. I'll put it on the screen. So here's the first one. Apart but in my heart. Get it? Ghoulfriend. So the idea behind these patterns, sometimes I snort when I laugh. As Ellen would say, keep it classy. Okay. Apart but in my heart features the traditional heart in hand, so do you get the idea? These are from like your ex-girlfriend that you don't want to hear from. Do you want further proof? Because here's her face. When this you see, remember me. Focus.
Shut up and sit down.
this is where it started, because you see, when this you see Remember Me on samplers all over the place, but I thought, what if it was on something from someone that you don't want to remember? Here she is. She even has a wart here with a couple of hairs coming off. I love these so much. So I sent these to Lois at lady.creates and I was like, can you finish these for me? She does awesome finishing, but I was like, look, I don't want these cute. I want them old and crusty and musty and a little bit awful looking. And it was hard for her to do because she's used to finishing things where they're completely sweet and precious and wonderful and you want to eat them. But she did an awesome job. This is Buster Brown lace, grubby wog ribbon, which she dyed for me for this project. It is a grubby wog looking color and she just like dirtied it up. Oh my goodness. Rusty pins, these weird wiry fabric things. Don't forget her. When this you see, remember me. Some dead looking flowers. So here's what the pattern looks like for ex-Ghoulfriend. I am also going to have floss packs in my Etsy store. I used 5 weeks dye work. These are some luscious colors. Of course I list DMC alternatives for those of you who don't want to do over dyes, but whoa, yes, this is Weeks Tobacco Road, and there's no DMC alternative for that. I mean, you can do what you want, but look at that. That's it. Yeah. So there's 5 weeks and 1 gast. You need 10 yards. It's a tiny bit over a 5 yard skein. So I went ahead and got the 10 yard skein of the luscious green color of her skin. So floss packs, I also have a limited number of finishing packs. So in those you get all the trims and doodads, the lace, the ribbon, everything you need except for sewing thread and the stuffing. So you get the fabric, everything that you need for both of the pillows. Those will be in my Etsy store. What do you think? Because I've gotten some real weird responses from people who are not needleworkers. And I don't tend to care what their responses are too much because they don't count. I would love to have video footage of people seeing and reacting to that pattern for the first time. I just love it. Moving on. Thanks for your responses to my lacing the lazy way video. I had no idea that would be so helpful to so many people. You guys want to do things half-heartedly and lazy too? Awesome. I'll show you how to do it. No, it actually is, I think, a great method of lacing, and it doesn't drive you crazy. It's relatively quick. If you haven't laced a piece or framed a piece yourself before and you want to figure out how to do it, but you don't want to be counting millimeters and like constantly fiddling and taking 4 hours, try it out. Lacing the lazy way. Also, I had no idea my designing would be interesting to anyone on the planet, but apparently I was wrong. Thanks for watching that video. I will do some more since you seem to like me babbling and clicking on things. I didn't realize you couldn't see my mouse in that video because obviously I could see my mouse. I don't know why it didn't record my mouse's movements. That was weird, but I'll do better next time. Next time I design something. That Design With Me video is linked to a freebie, so if you didn't catch that one, click on back. I did a feature for Reddit and you can find a free pattern from me there. It's very holiday, seasonally appropriate right now. I was in just cross stitch Christmas. Just cross stitch Christmas ornaments 2019. I have a flip through of this on my Instagram account. If you're interested in a flip through, I will show you all the ornaments included, but this was my contribution. Cats love Christmas. I think it's adorable. What do you think? They put my picture in here. I showed it to my son, and he looked at it. I said, oh, look, Mom's in a magazine. Cats love Christmas. Look, here's my picture in a magazine. And he looked at it, and he said, oh, you look pale. That was his comment. Thanks, honey. In case you haven't noticed, your mother is pale. I also have a design in the fall issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine that I don't have my copy yet, so I can't show you. I have a finish. So we're going to move on to actual needlework I'm working on right now. I have a finish. I'm excited to show it to you. It's my Stitch Mania focus piece for this year. I finished Bag Ladies. And here it is. I love this piece of cross stitch. I love it. I started this Stitch Mania last year, just barely started it, and this year I started my own Stitch Mania method. I'm just going to call it a method. I think this could be the next Stitch Mania craze. There's different methods that people approach Stitch Mania with. I think this was really fun. What I decided to do was pick a piece that I wanted to make significant progress on, Bag Ladies, and then I set myself a weekly goal. So for this piece, I decided each week I want to stitch one bagged cat. So the bag and the cat, I want to get it completely done. Now if I do that within the space of the week, I can have a new start at the end of the week. And I was able to do it. So I bagged 5 cats and got pretty close to finishing this. Pretty close, but not quite. But it was really fun because it really satisfied one of my needs, which I don't like having a ton of projects on the go. So Stitch Mania, I've tried to do it and I just cannot mentally handle it. But I made significant progress, and then it felt like a little reward for buckling down to have a little new start. And then worst case scenario, you only have 5 new starts. So it's the Lindy method, and it is the method for people who are weak-minded and cannot have a ton of projects going on at the same time. So this is a kit by Dimensions. I think it's under the Sunset brand of Dimensions. You can get it on eBay for like $10. It's a great deal. I made a few mistakes. The biggest one being this was supposed to be a white tail, but this was like one of the last parts I worked on, and so I was like, devil may care that I just made a mistake. I put in like the wrong first color. So I was like, well, this cat's tail is gray now because I am not unstitching that. Also, the back stitch key was very confusing, and I stitched, I don't know, it was confusing because each cat had its own, like, it was just this big chart of like, and you were supposed to know what number cat it was, and then know like if the thick blue line meant 2 strands or 1 strand of this color or that color. It was like this big chart, and I thought I was doing right, and I was not doing right. So some of this is backstitch outlined with 2 strands. Like you can probably tell, like this is like way too defined and thick, and so is this. Some of it, a lot of it, I backstitched with 2 strands before I figured out that I was not following the key right. It was confusing. It wasn't my fault, it was the chart's fault. But this looks great. It's going in my closet of finishes, where things hang to die. Next up, I had a new start. It's a full coverage piece. I'm very surprised by it, but not so surprised by it because I did have this kit and I did want to stitch it. This is an RTO kit called Red Troublemakers. I am not a full coverage stitcher. I don't think I am, but I might be. I don't know. I so far am really enjoying stitching this. I think there's a huge difference. Let's talk about my first foray into full coverage first, and I will tell you why I'm enjoying this more. So if you've been watching me from the beginning, you will have seen this piece before. This was my first foray into full coverage. This is a piece by Renoir called Dance at Bougival. I'm sure you've seen it. It has the big lady in the white dress dancing with the man. It's very endearing. I love it. Renoir is one of my favorite artists. I can no longer recommend the Etsy seller that I got this chart from. I was stitching this 2/1 tent stitch on I think 25 count. So the stitches are super duper small. They're half stitch. Why did I quit stitching this? I mean, this little section probably represents many hours of my life. I just didn't enjoy it. And then when this guy's face, this is the guy's face under the top hat, when his face turned out so yellow, I was kind of like, I didn't like how the coloring was coming out. I don't know. At the time, I kind of thought maybe I'll go over to her face because her face is bigger and more defined and see how it goes, but honestly, I just was like over it. I was so over it. The stitches are so tiny and I don't like them. I don't know. Now, on top of that, I don't even know. I just quit. And I didn't feel bad about quitting either. And I'm probably never going to pick this up again. And I thought, I am never doing full coverage again. It takes forever and you get no, like hardly any progress to show out of it. However, I have to have some of this lady's artwork on my wall. Her name is Maria Pavlova. I adore everything she paints. It's charming and lovely and happy. I love the colors she uses. I love the emotions that she evokes with her painting. I love this. And so, I've looked many times for many ways of like being able to purchase one of her prints. It's all in Russian and I can't figure out any like way I'm comfortable ordering her art. However, RTO has converted 5 or 6 of her paintings into full coverage pieces. So here's where I am. Not very many stitches in. I'm starting in the bottom corner right here. and I'm really honestly enjoying this. I am using 16 count Ada. I think that honestly is making a difference. I also think because it's easier to see, and I think when you're working full coverage, it's easier to work on. But I'm no full coverage expert by any means. Also, I'm just not going full steam on this. I let myself do 1 block, and if I'm really into it, 2 blocks, and then I'm like, done. Also, I'm still going. RTO kits come with these cards, and I have never worked with some sort of system like this. Didn't know if I would like it. My first full coverage piece was working with bobbins, which didn't feel annoying at the time, but now that I see how easy it is to use these project cards, this is so much easier that when I look back on me fiddling with my bobbins and unwinding and rewinding every time I need a new color, as opposed to literally taking your needle and going stitch. It's so handy. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to use these project cards to get your floss. And you don't have to look at the number. You just look at the symbol, you grab it, and you go. This is really, really nice. So I like that my project is not taking up a lot of space. I don't know about you, but I get claustrophobic and clutter mania. It drives me crazy. So I have my Momily bag. This is the bag that I'm keeping for myself. I have my floss in here. I just take this bag out, I pull out my floss, I do my square, I put it back in, throw this behind the chair. I'm done. I don't have the big old bobbin box. It's wonderful, and I'm enjoying it. So hopefully in a few years I'll have this finished. I don't know. I didn't see it coming, but welcome to the wild and wacky world of cross stitch. I've been working on Best Ghoulfriends, filling that pattern in here's how far I am. I just want to get this thing done. I am not into filling in the big blocks of color. It feels like it is taking me forever. I have more gray hairs because of Best Ghoulfriends. So I need to fill this in. And then they have these bottom skirts in a different color. Then I have to put the text on. And then I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Best Ghoulfriends will be done. Let me talk to you about my favorite whip. I love this project. I think I already talked about how much I love this project. This is Skinny Wolf Farm by Barbara Anna Designs. I had no idea how fast this was going to go. This is not small. It is 222 by 110. And you think to yourself, well, that's going to take a while. 220. I'm almost halfway done with it. Look. Oh. You can tell me how great that looks. Look at my wolf. He's drooling. How rude. Look at it. Oh my gosh. I love this. So I'm almost halfway done. I feel like I've hardly worked on this. I mean, obviously it's just all the blank space. It's so easy to work on. I've worked on this like in the middle of the night with insomnia. You know, like when you barely can rub 2 brain cells together to do anything. It's so pretty and easy and lovely. I don't know why you're not stitching it. Get on the Skinny Wolf bandwagon. There's no bandwagon. It's just me and Megan, the wide-eyed stitching child. But if you want to join our mini wagon, do it. Skinny Wolf Farm by Barbara Anna. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Needlework Galleria and then we'll finish up. But if you're not going, don't leave yet because I want to show you something that you also can get a hold of before then. I am excited about Needlework Galleria. However, I know that the stitchy world as a whole is huge and a very small portion of people are going to be able to make it. And so I wanted to show you this new thing that I've made that I will have at Needlework Galleria, but I'll also have them in my Etsy store. And I know you're going to love them, so let me show them to you. However, if you are going to Needlework Galleria, please stop by my room. I have a trunk show from Lady.Creates with some of the most adorable, delicious products in them you've ever seen. I mean, this lady is Lois. She's so creative. She's so imaginative. You have got to come in and see her stuff. I will have, of course, all of my stuff. Guess who's helping me? Barbie Pedal Pusher. Barbie Tingley is going to be there in my room assisting me, and she's going to have her patterns there too. I also am going to be hosting a trunk show from Misty Purcell at Luminous Fiber Arts. Nevermore Raven. Come and see him. So here's the product I wanted to show to you. This is a needlework accessory. It is based on a vintage idea. I don't know if you've ever seen a scissor bird. So I don't even know in what decade, but a while ago they used to make a wooden bird, little wooden bird with a hole in the back of his head that you could stick your scissors in. He's a little scissor holder. I've always loved them. I think they're adorable. I decided to get together with a local woodsman, woodcrafter, wood person named Dan. I pulled up outside of his shop and his little logo said, "Make your product idea a reality," or something like that. And I was like, that's what I need. Walked in, Dan, can you make me a scissor bird, specifically a scissor raven? We worked on it together. And Edward Scissorbird was born. That's right. He's a scissor raven. If you've never seen one, be amazed. Is it not the most adorable thing you've ever seen? So Dan came up with, he did all the configuring for me. I helped work on the drawing with him. I wanted him to have like a little chest beard, as we all want in our lives, little chest beard, and we did it together. I'm very proud of Edward Scissorbird. I think that he is amazing and incredible, and he is part of the Lindy Stitches product line now. He's engraved on both sides. He's hand finished. I mean, Dan works hard on these for me, and I love Edward Scissorbird. I hope you do too. So the hard part about making this product was configuring the angle of his head so that the scissors would stick out and be secure and blah blah blah. I mean, birds' heads are typically kind of fat, and so yeah, I think he turned out great. We configured him specifically to fit best with a small pair of embroidery scissors. So if you have a stork pair of scissors, which I think most needleworkers do, I have several pairs in several different colors. That's what he's configured best for. And in my Etsy store, you'll be able to see more measurements of like what scissors will work. But I'll just show you. He works with a wide variety of smaller scissors, so obviously those scissors would give him a bigger beak. I love Edward so much. And I'm really thinking that more birds will be on the way. But just as an example, I have this shorter pair of scissors. They probably have a 1.5 inch shank. Fail. Edward does not want to hold those. But I will have scissors and Edward listed in my shop. Of course, every Edward, since he's made out of ash, he's made out of ash and cherry wood, so he's made out of real wood. They're all different because wood has different grains and textures even within the same piece. So each Edward is unique, and he comes with a little adoption certificate and promises to, what does he promise to? Keep your scissors safe even during midnight's dreary. Lose your scissors nevermore. And I don't know about you, but I think that would look great sitting on your little stitchy table. What do you think, Edward? I think you're right, Steph. You're so handsome. Thanks, babe. That's all I have for you. Also, don't forget, you wanted to watch that awkward conversation that Emily and I had on Skype. It's at the end. Thanks for stopping by and letting me show you the things that I've been working on. I hope that you are enjoying your creative life. Making things so fun. It is. Let's hang out on Instagram. If you're going to Needlework Galleria, please stop in. Me and Barbie, we want to hang out and party like it's 1999. So, talk to you later, guys. Bye. We're chatting now.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Look correct on your side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking good. Do we both need to do like a hair toss?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so you have a FLOSSTUBE anniversary coming up. Remind me what year that is.
It actually just happened. It was September 1st. So it was 2015, so 4 years.
4 years on FLOSSTUBE. So that means I've been hanging out with you for 4 years.
At least.
At least 4 years. So you feel like my friend, even though we've never met in person.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. And do you miss old FLOSSTUBE the way I miss old FLOSSTUBE?
I do. Like, I occasionally message Mackenzie, the lovely array, and I'm like, come back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we both started, we were kind of on the end of like the wave of pioneers of the women who had just started doing it. And then it was a couple of years where I honestly felt like I could keep up to date on FLOSSTUBE because there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
Yes.
And now I'm like there's so many people doing it that it kind of feels
huge.
Oh, it feels huge. Yeah. Yeah. So I almost feel like that the group that we kind of were recording together at the beginning, I feel like there's this little intimate special circle that we share.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not to say that we're like better than anyone else that records FLOSSTUBE videos, but I don't know. There was something special. There's something different about FLOSSTUBE at the beginning that I kind of feel like maybe has worn off. I don't know.
Well, I think because there was so few of us, like relationships were formed that it's hard to do now because there's so many people.
Yeah. Right. And often I'll be watching FLOSSTUBE nowadays and people will refer to other FLOSSTUBERs and I really don't know who they are. Yeah. But it's great. It's awesome. So anyway, we've been together for 4 years. I'm saying that like we're a married couple. We've been together for 4 years.
Yeah.
And anyway, what was it? When did I first contact you about our project idea? Maybe the beginning of the year?
Yeah, it was at least January or February because I was going back through texts, like trying to find a photo, and it went back to the beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning of the year, I was trying to think of ways that I could, I don't know, collaborate with other people and do something fun and original. And I thought of you because you're regularly complimented on your color choices, aren't you?
I am.
I see it on Instagram all the time.
And it amazes me because I'm like, I just pick what I think looks good. And other people are like, I don't have the ability to do that. And that's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah, you have a talent that not everyone has. Yeah, and I think even on patterns that you haven't like gone off the rails and chosen Emily colors, you pick a fabric choice that other people wouldn't think about, and then the piece just has a whole different look to it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know you had this talent, so I contacted you and wanted to know if you would like to pick out a color palette for me to work with, and you did, right?
I did. Yeah.
I'm gonna grab them. So you and I both love Gentle Arts threads.
Yes, it's my favorite.
Yes, yes. So you picked out, I think, close to 12 maybe colors.
Yeah. I was like, these I feel I love and work well together. Do what you will.
Yeah. And I didn't end up using all 12, but I did use these.
Yes. And I have mine here too.
Yay! Really, really gorgeous. I love the golds and of course the Brethren blue.
Yes.
So pretty. So Emily picked the colors and I designed a sampler with her in mind. I guess I'll just show that now, right?
Well, and I will say she kept me completely in the dark on this until like it was almost done. Like I had no idea what you were doing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I worked obsessive. When I get on a project that I'm excited about, I kind of work obsessively. Like at one point I was working on designing it and I totally burned dinner. I let it go up in flames because I could not be bothered to get out of the chair and stop designing the sampler because it's beautiful, it's fun. And you picked the fabric too, right?
Kind of, sort of, like we
choices.
narrowed it down
Yeah.
to some fabrics that we thought would work, and then you picked based on having the threads in front of you.
Right. So here is Emily's house.
I love it.
And I know my webcam is not going to do it justice, but where this house came from.
It looks like a house that I saved on Instagram that I loved. That was on like because I follow a whole bunch of like old house Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that floss tube tag that you did while you were stitching? And did you make up that tag?
I think I did. I think it was the Emily C tag.
Yeah, the Emily C tag. One of the questions was your ideal house, what it would look like. Is that?
I forgot about that. I forgot I used that house.
Yeah, that was one of the pictures that you put up. So yeah, that's based on that.
That's awesome. The beautiful mansard roof. Looks like slate roof. Perfect.
Yes. And of course, there's Buster and Dharma.
Love it.
I can't stop looking at this. I love it. And I didn't think I would end up in a green frame, but I don't know. It just worked. And I really wanted to do a wood tone, but like nothing was, I don't know. You know how sometimes you have it in your head and then when you put it in the frame, it's like, ooh, no.
Yeah, that's not working.
Yeah. And then we also did the little scissor fobs.
I love those. Oh, I haven't seen the backs.
Yeah, just fabric.
Perfect.
So yeah, I don't want to. Do we want to go into the verse?
Yes, because the verse is one of my favorite parts.
So this is a verse from Proverbs, and I don't know, it just said you to me. I really respect the work that you do every day. So let me read it because I'm sure my webcam is awful. Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute.
I love it. It's perfect. And I love the way that the grass like waves above it.
Yeah, that was an attempt to just make the verse clearer and not to have to stitch that much grass.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it. So then I wanted to have something special to share with other people. So you went to town for me, didn't you?
I did. I devoted a large part of my life to that.
Sewing project bags. Oh, I love these so much.
Me too. And I still have to make me one.
So yeah, Emily sewed me 24, is that right? 24
Yes.
project bags.
One for you.
And they are divine. I love the lace that you used. Yeah. Super awesome.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I happened upon that checkered fabric and it reminded me of the roof of the house.
Yeah. Yeah, it coordinates well. They all.
Yeah, it works.
It looks awesome. So yeah, this was really fun. It was fun not to just like be alone in my own ideas, you know, but to like have someone else to think about and try to please. And you pick the colors, so I didn't have to pick those.
But you know what I realized through this process?
What?
It's really hard for me to keep a secret. I did, but it's really hard.
So that's Emily's house. I'm glad that you like it.
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
It turned out way better than I could have ever imagined. Thanks for working with me on this.
It was my pleasure. Yeah, it's one of my favorite creations now, without a doubt. Hey, is Buster nearby?
He was. He's right over there on his cat tree. You want me to grab him?
On that one.
I didn't make one.
Does this stay up?
We're gonna do this stuff anyway. We're just gonna match buttons until shit happens.
All right, Houston, we're gonna hit a button. Either it's gonna work or. Don't do that. That's the wrong button.
I can just put. I have.
Check on something real quick.
Are you recording? Because you might have just gotten a cat throwing up.
Welcome to Cat Lady FLOSSTUBERS.
Look, buddy.
Here he is.
It's Walter.
Look at the camera, Walter.
Buster's like, what am I doing? Why am I here?
Yeah.